Welcome to Robotics and Automation News webinars, where you can be part of a global event without leaving your home or office. Attend our live webinars and communicate directly with influential professionals in your industry.
Hello, my name is Abdul Montakim. I'm editor of Robotics and Automation News.com. In this interview, I speak to James Morris-Manuel, or Manuel, sorry if I've got that wrong, Managing Director of Matterport for the EMEA region. Matterport is a very interesting image capturing company. It provides cameras and software which enables you to capture images. Mainly, it's designed mainly for indoor spaces, so it can create photorealistic virtual indoor spaces, whether they are shops, factories, or real estate.
I'm James Morris-Manuel. I'm the Managing Director for EMEA for Matterport, based in London, where we have kind of our EMEA headquarters. And my job is two main focuses, really. One is setting strategy of how we grow geographically through Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So how do we get into the 116 countries in EMEA in the most effective fashion? And the second part is kind of strategic growth through the verticals. So Matterport traditionally has around 50% of our customer base in residential real estate. How do we move into commercial real estate, architecture, engineering, construction, insurance, travel and hospitality, and essentially any building type or use case where there is a physical asset attached? So the way I would think about it is a building's life cycle might start in the design phase, then it moves to the construction phase, then it might go up for sale. Once it's sold, it might then get rented to somebody else. It might then need to be insured. And that building goes through a whole life cycle. And where can Matterport deliver value to that property life cycle at all the different steps? And how do we effectively get into those verticals? So those are the two main focuses: growth through the markets, the geographies, and growth through the verticals, like some of the ones I mentioned.
All right, so yeah, the way I understand Matterport, or what I understand of Matterport, it made me think of, I think there was a Google's piece of software or application where they provided 3D visualizations of the inside of buildings. I'm not sure what it was called. I've never seen it myself, but explain what Matterport does. It sort of uses computer algorithms to work out the space within a room or building, and then suggests optimal ways of using it. That's what I understand, but you can, explain better than me, obviously.
Sure. So Matterport is the leading spatial data company, and we use artificial intelligence to turn any physical space into an immersive 3D digital twin. And this is providing entirely new ways for people to experience, interact, and analyze spaces, homes, buildings in more detail. So that's what we do in a kind of a sentence, but if we unpack that a little bit and talk about all of the different ways that you could use Matterport, the first starts with, how do you capture a property? And there are many ways to capture a property. And actually, Abdul, if you're going to go onto our website, there's an excellent section on the website under cameras, which shows you all of the different cameras that are available to Matterport to capture properties with. So if you click cameras, drop down.
Cameras, yeah.
Yeah. Or if you just hit overview.
Okay.
but you can see there a selection of all of the different cameras available. So the one on the left is the Matterport Pro 2. That's our workhorse camera. It's 99% accurate, dimensionally accurate, and it has high definition 134 megapixel images each time it captures. The other camera that's available is the Leica BLK. That's the second one in, which is the kind of with the domed top. That's a much higher accuracy camera, but lower image quality. And that's a partnership we did with Leica. And then after that, you have the Ricoh Z1 and the Ricoh V. Both of those are Ricoh 360 cameras. You then have Insta cameras as well. So there's a whole tranche of 360 cameras that we're compatible with, so that you can capture the data using those. And then the last one is you can actually get started with your iPhone as well. So we've really democratized the ability for people to capture spaces and turn them into 3D. So if we take the iPhone example at the end, you simply go into a property with your iPhone, you take a spherical image, a number of spherical images with your phone, you upload that to the Matterport platform. Our artificial intelligence engine called Cortex, which I'll talk about more in a moment, transforms those 2D images into a 3D model, and you have a 3D model ready to launch on your website or wherever you want to distribute it within a few hours. The real uniqueness and IP that we have at Matterport is around our artificial intelligence engine Cortex, and the fact that we can take any 2D image and turn it into 3D. And that's one of the really big differentiators that we have. Well, actually not differentiators, we're the only ones who can do that. And that is because we have a library of over 5 million 3D models. And by having a library of that size, it means we can do artificial intelligence and machine learning on that data set. And that's how we take anything from 2D into 3D.
Now, what do people use it for? I mean, you provide or how do you, what's the next step, if you like, once you've captured the images and worked out the dimensions of the space and the shape and all sorts of other things that you might capture? What happens then in terms of what kind of companies, what the companies ask for? Do they not really, involve you at that stage? They just buy the camera and the use the software or the AI, if you like, for their own purposes, and you're not involved at that stage. What kind of things do you get asked to do, and what kind of things do people use this hardware and software use it for?
Great question. Let me maybe zoom out a tiny bit and kind of start at the beginning, with the market size. So the built world, we estimate, is a $230 trillion asset class. It's 3 times the size of the global equity markets, and it's a very analog industry. It's, there's a lot of physical buildings, but there's not a lot of those buildings have been taken online. It's a very traditional, very analog building. So we provide a really excellent disruptive technology to help take that industry online. Of that $230 trillion asset class, we estimate there's around 4 billion buildings that can be captured. And what do those 4 billion buildings really look like? So of the 4 billion buildings, we estimate there are around 20 billion spaces that can be captured. And the reason why there's a kind of that 4 billion buildings to 20 billion spaces is because one building might have retail on the ground floor, commercial offices in the middle floors, and then residential on the top floors. So although there's 4 billion buildings, we estimate there's around 20 billion spaces that can be captured, all different use cases and use types that I'll come on to in a second. And So for Matterport, those 20 billion buildings actually represents a $240 billion total addressable market. So where is Matterport today compared to the market size? We currently have just over 5 million spaces online. Those 5 million spaces is the equivalent of 15 billion square feet. And 15 billion square feet is quite hard to visualize. So the best way to visualize 15 billion square feet is it's the equivalent of 5 times the size of New York City have been captured with Matterport. So that's the amount of square foot that we've captured so far. So these numbers sound great, 15 billion square feet and 5 million spaces, but actually when you tie it back to the market size, it's less than 1%. We are really at the beginning of this journey. We're at the start of the start as we move forward. The piece to move on to answering your question that you kind of referenced, which is what industries. If you go onto the website and you click on industries, you'll be able to see a big list of the ones that we're selling into actively now. So for example, if you click on real estate, the first one, here it gives you lots of information on why people in residential real estate should be using Matterport. So you can see immediately straight away, 74% of agents using Matterport win more instructions. 95% of people are more likely to call about a property that has a 3D virtual tour. And as you scroll down through this page, we really demonstrate the value that that Matterport brings to the residential real estate industry. But if you might want, actually, while we're on residential real estate, do you want to maybe just click that video and you can see some of the info?
Yeah, sure. It'd be good to do that. I was just thinking of it myself. Usually I can play without the sound and you can talk over it, but it's up to you. But before I do that, I just wanted to ask a quick question about real estate. You can answer it later if you like, after you've finished what you were saying. But this is not new. 3D visualizations of properties used by estate agencies. It's like, a couple of decades old, I think. I mean, when I saw it, it didn't work very well, to be fair. Back in those days, the internet was very slow, the software wasn't quite good, the hardware wasn't compatible. So apart from those obvious limitations, what difference is there now between your system and older systems of 3D virtualization of real estate, properties?
So, I mean, look, we've all seen panorama companies from 20 years ago, but the difference now is we've democratized and commoditized the ability to capture them. So people can capture properties quickly, easily, cost effectively, in high definition, and clients have the ability to walk through the property as if they're really there. So, you can see here, for example, we've added points of interest, where you can add links, images, text. This is the workshop area, where we create a lot of automated assets. So we automate videos, we automate photos that you can export. Shows you that you can share the property quite quickly and easily and launch it straight onto either your own website or some of the property portals.
Looks fantastic, actually. Looks really, really amazing. It looks like a game sort of world, and it'd be fun to sell or property or rent out property, be an estate agent in this kind of situation. Yeah, it looks really, really good fun. What kind of how did you do this in terms of the software you use? How did you develop something like this? Because I've had to go at things like Unreal Game Engine, for example, and one or two of the others. I didn't know what I was doing, but just out of curiosity, as because I talk to people like yourself occasionally, So I kind of like to get up on this kind of thing. So this, it doesn't look like Unreal Engine as a platform, because you can tell by the textures and things. It's, I don't know actually. How did you develop this?
So, well, everything that you're seeing here is photorealistic. So this is the high definition imagery of that property, and that's where the value for the residential real estate or any of the verticals that we sell in, that's part of the value, is the fact that you're able to walk around in high fidelity with a seamless customer experience that loads on any device. So that's one of the differences in terms of how it was developed. The company was founded in 2011. We actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in June this year. So we've been in this market for 10 years, not only building the hardware, but also building all of the software that comes with everything that you're seeing. And in terms of where we're really leaning in now, it's on those things like Cortex with the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So can we do more object recognition now that we have got so many properties in the database? Can we do object recognition? Can we recognize chairs? Can we recognize the room type? We've seen in residential real estate, we've seen thousands of bedrooms now, hundreds of thousands of bedrooms in 3D. And our artificial intelligence engine can now recognize, oh, this has got a soft square-shaped object in the middle of the room with some side tables. It's likely to be a bedroom. I mean, that's an oversimplification of what's really going on. But so Cortex is a very big part of our business that we've been building for many years, and something we are continually developing on. Another piece that is very important is our third-party integration. So we've built a platform marketplace where third-party developers can come and build applications on top of our 3D content. And there's many applications that can be created. So we've seen things like co-viewings, where an agent can guide a customer around a property. We've also seen audio tours. So as you walk around, audio starts playing to talk you through the property. And the list is very long, actually. We've signed up 50 platform partners in the last 6 months, and those platform partners are building more and more functionality on top of the 3D platform. And we're also continuing, obviously, to sign up more platform partners as we move forward. The capture methods that I spoke about at the beginning, that's another big piece of the technology that we've been building for many years and are continuing to develop, which is the ability to ingest 2D and 3D content in as many ways as possible. So it could be, the Pro 2 camera, which Matterport created and designed and launched, or our partnerships with Leica, Insta360, or Ricoh, or the iPhone. And actually, we're working soon to be launching compatibility with Android and the ability to capture with Android. So that's another big kind of part of the business, which is, this democratizing the capture method as well.
I think it's fantastic. It looks absolutely fantastic. I haven't seen your, didn't know about Matterport before, but as I say, I've had a look at things like this where photorealism and gaming. I don't understand the whole thing, so I wanted to ask you one or two nerdy questions or geeky questions, if you like. So you can imagine so it's frozen it here in this. Yeah, I could have frozen it anyway, but just looking at this picture. So imagine that your camera has photographed from this angle at one moment in time. It's photographed this. Now the textures or the colors, the patterns of the things in the room, whether you're talking about the wood on the ceiling, the bricks on the wall, the desk, and things like the chairs and complex objects, actually, it looks absolutely brilliant. It's very, very impressive. But how does the computer or algorithm, if you don't mind me, as I say, it's a bit technical, is it, are these things photographs dropped into boxes like you do in InDesign, for example, where, you know, magazine design applications? Is it like an empty box that the photographs is dropped into? Or is it, so there's a, you know, did the camera take a photograph of this wall hanging there, this whatever it is, and then create a box and drop it in there? Or did it digitally simulate it or copy it and create its own digital version of the photograph and then put it together? And you know, how do, yeah, if you don't mind me sort of asking things like that, because I'm very interested in how so realistic it is. It looks like photographs, but not quite. It looks like a digital version of the photograph, and the fact that you can move around in such a flawless kind of way, I can't see the joins between things, and you know, it must be digital. So what's the, you know, basic explanation of that?
Sure. So, I mean, one of the things we could do while you're on the website is jump into the gallery, because I think you paused a video here, but you could actually walk around a live model if you scroll back up to the top. The best way to see the experience is to go onto our website. You go to resources, you can jump into gallery. As you scroll down, there's lots of different filters. You can filter by region, by the camera type, by the industry. And then you can just select any property you want to explore. So if I scroll down a little bit here, I'm going to jump into, this is, I think, a shop. I'll scroll down, loads the media like this very quickly. You can see 3D model. This model actually has lots of points of interest inside it. So as you can see, they put points of interest as you move around the property. They've got points of interest all over the property where you can, okay, tablets, I can click to explore and I can go see what tablets they have available. Move through here a bit more. Right, for this one, this is a Garmin product, Games Hub, explore the Games Hub, lots of different products to explore. But to answer your question in terms of quality, this is all photorealistic imagery. So this is all real photos. This isn't engineered from 3D data. This is the actual imagery of the property.
And it's stitched together somehow in a digital way.
Correct. And it's stitched together, but you can see how seamlessly I'm moving through the property as I click.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I do remember seeing something similar many years ago. I think the software was actually called StitchUp. What you do is you take photographs and you stitch the photographs together. But the level of, you know, your points of interest. So the way they did it is that it's like they took, let's say, 50 pictures of a particular venue. And the points of interest that you could click were basically the camera angles that they took pictures from. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of, say, a limited number of camera angles, you have in your system a limited number of camera angles that software had. I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, this is just many orders of magnitude more data intensive, more data, more processing going on, many more thousands upon thousands of camera angles and textures. The amount of data that your cameras are collecting, I mean, it must be cloud, sort of everything must be going up to the cloud and processed that way. And talk about that part of it in terms of how much data is collected and what you're how you're dealing with it. Do you use a third-party cloud provider, or do you have cloud, some sort of data center of your own, or how do you deal with it?
So it's a great question, and probably one that is more technical than I'm able to answer. We host our technology on a number of cloud platforms and partners, but the main one that we use is Amazon Web Service. But that's probably the extent of the answer I'm going to be able to give you.
No, that's fine. That's the extent I would understand anyway. The reason that's
Okay.
part of the that's part of the reason I asked, because Amazon is kind of a favorite for this kind of application, very data intensive. Lots of companies, very large, very small. Reason why Amazon is so successful, it provides a good service, cloud service, which it kind of invented in a way, cloud computing. They provide, they were the first to call it cloud and provide it in that way, computing services on demand. So, yeah, no, that's not a surprise, and it's as I say, technically that's about the limitation. All I wanted to know is that if you had a data center of your own or not. And the reason I ask that is sometimes, say a company like BMW, because its cars are becoming now more computerized, they want to know about their environment, more autonomous functions are being integrated into the car. A lot of computing data is being generated, and they're building their own data center to kind of deal with it. Kind of, you could say that they do similar things except on roads, similar things to what you do except on roads. And as a gross oversimplification, but there are other companies like General Electric and all sorts of other companies, very large, very small. They've gone with a cloud services provider, and more often than not is Amazon. So that's why I'm asking. And there's a lot. I don't know how much you know about virtual factories, virtual design of factories, internal spaces like you've done. You're talking about, you're doing something where you're photographing internal spaces. What they're often doing is using digital models of, say, for example, a machine, a robot, or worktop, or something like that, and sort of positioning them inside an empty workspace and designing a factory in that way. So that's something that that's also going on. A very interesting area. I think it's called virtual factory simulation or something like that. They actually have a system. Siemens, for example, has a system where you can actually kind of press play, I suppose, and see how the process works through the factory, see how the product is made in a way, in a virtual way. So that's a very interesting area that possibly you might gradually get into. The work I see here in your website on the showcase, as well as in the list of industries that you've got, are things like retail and real estate is the obvious one. Retail is another obvious one. You know, the earlier you showed us video of a shop where
I was actually just trying to find a model. So we actually do have a number of customers, but as we could see in the gallery, a lot of them keep it confidential. So I can't give you any of the names, but they use the Matterport to capture their manufacturing facilities so they can replicate the machine setups when they move and create new facilities. So as you go into they would capture, for example, not conveyor belt, a process, what's the word I'm looking for? Construction line. They would capture a construction line,
assembly line
of assembly line or a construction line of machines inside a factory, so that when they open a new factory somewhere else, they can very quickly share the digital twin and say to the new factory that they're opening, this is how we've got it set up in our existing factory. This is how we have it running for optimal performance, so that they can copy all the best practices. And they can also go a step further, where they start to integrate more detailed, rich content onto that assembly line or whatever the machinery is, where they could have, for example, gauges. Is this machinery running at full capacity? Is this piece of machinery overheating? and they can integrate the Internet of Things. So any of those dials or products or temperature gauges or productivity gauges, whatever gauges they're using to run the machinery, they can integrate that inside the digital twin, and they can walk around and see how all of the machinery is performing. I mean, here is a good example of something similar, which is a mechanical, an MEP room, so mechanical, electrical, and plumbing room, where customer can come in and you can see all of how this building is run. Here you just have very simple text, but you could, for example, have a Internet of Things gauge pop up, which shows you how the performance of that machine is running. Is the water at the right temperature, whatever else it might be. So we are doing a lot of that now. And I kind of go back to the point at the beginning, which is, if there's a physical asset, it can be captured and you can create a digital twin of any physical asset that's out there.
Yeah, digital twin is a phrase that, obviously you've used it, so you must know about it. It's a kind of well-known term now, where people are doing this and using a similar technique of taking photographs of them. I kind of feel sorry for artists, 3D computer sort of artists who used to design these things from scratch, rather than take photographs of them. They'd design it from scratch, but to sort of continue that in that area of games, gamification, if you like. I mean, the environments that you've shown, obviously they're interactive to a point where you click on things and you find data. But are they interactive in terms of a multi-participant sort of interaction, where, say, 3, 4, 5 or more different people access the same virtual model, that, for example, the one you've just shown, and they meet each other and they see each other as avatars, sort of thing, like in games? Is that possible? Is that something that is not necessary for you?
So it's something that we know some of our platform partners have also been thinking about. So it's not something that's core to Matterport currently, but we have seen examples where people have taken digital twins and imported it into the gaming engines, where you can run around in the first person with a little avatar. So we've seen some people use the digital twin to create the world the avatar moves around in. And for like co-meetings, I think you were kind of talking about, where you're all in a model together. We also have some platform partners who have created that functionality where you can all jump into a property together and walk around at the same time, all seeing the same space as you move through it. So some of that is possible today, and that's what's lovely about having this 3D platform, where people can build products on top, or apps on top of the platform. Is the sky is the limit, really.
Yeah, as you know, the pandemic has destroyed a lot of things. But the events, industry trade shows, been cancelled for 2 years. So a lot of people have tried virtual trade shows, and really they're kind of just one notch above webinars. The virtual trade shows that I've seen, they're not like this, where you have a 3D immersive environment where you get to walk around stands and maybe meet other people in the form of avatars and things like that. I thought that would be something that somebody does, and I can't remember seeing it. So that, I think, would be ideal going forward. Obviously, hopefully the pandemic won't last too long, but virtual trade shows might be another area that takes up this kind of challenge of creating a virtual event center, if you like, event venue, and having people do things like that. All right, well, that's it's a fascinating, fantastic looking world that you're creating. Good luck with that. Just one question, I think, did you send a press release about fundraising or financing and things like that? I can't remember whether you. I mean, relatively speaking, you're a new company. I mean, how did you finance yourself, and what are the what's the business side of it, if you like? How much money you're needing, and how much do you charge? Is it expensive to use your cameras and system and things like that? How do you price them?
So, I mean, we've been around for 10 years now, so it depends how you view kind of the 10 years as a company life cycle. We've gone through multiple rounds of funding, and we recently just completed a IPO. So we're now a publicly listed company, where we raised quite a significant amount of money to kind of grow the business. So we're in a position now where we're publicly traded, and we're of a size and scale to really lean into our first mover, first scaler advantage that we've got.
So, sorry to interrupt, but how much did you raise, and what's your market capitalization now, approximately?
So the market capitalization's moves around a little bit, but we raised at the point of the IPO $605 million net of wow. net of fees and everything else. So lots of quite a lot of money to further the business. And to answer your kind of second question, which is how to use Matterport, the simple answer is most cost-effective plans are free. So you can start using Matterport today for free. You just have to go to matterport.com. You sign up for a free account. You can start capturing with your phone or with a 360 device, and you can get started creating digital twins right now, quickly and easily. And from there, obviously, the pricing tiers go up from professional use to business use, all the way through to enterprise customers who have very, very large portfolios of properties with us.
Great. All right. Well, James, it's been fascinating talking to you. Is there something that I should have asked about that maybe I missed that you want to say, you want to add?
No, I think we covered a lot of ground today, which was great. So I think we've covered not everything. There's always more to talk about. We've definitely covered the most important things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and your insights, and have a great day.
Pleasure. And yourself. Thank you very much.
Send us an email at sales@roboticsandautomationnews.com to register for one of our many upcoming webinars. And if you'd like us to host your webinar, we have a range of options, including long-term lead generation packages and marketing campaigns. We look forward to hearing from you soon.